Hi there, welcome to part 3 of the video series on helping your kids figure out what is it that they want to do when they grow up. Quite a full-on topic, right? Lots of tips and messages that we've discussed in part 2. I'm just going to leave my wonderful board to the side and I'm really drawn to actually making sure that we grab some oracles for the purposes of part 3, which is, the wrap up, concluding remarks, any messages, and specifically messages from the Spirit, because they might have a lot to say on this subject. So I'm just going to get the energy and the Spirit oracle first. And as I do this, I might just share my own story about, what was it that I did or my family did to help me figure out what I wanted to do and how that went about. And it's sort of an inspiration as well for this video series, I suppose. It was something I did in my life. And so when I was about 12, my dad actually took me to see a lot of the service providers in his life at that time, which was like a family lawyer. I think we had an accountant at some point in time. There were obviously quite a lot of teachers in my life, including my mum, who did early childhood as well as secondary schooling at some point in time. I having visited many doctors before, I kind of had an idea of the medical profession, and so those are just a few examples that come to my mind at this point in time. But having gone through that experience of seeing what people do for their job and talk to them frankly and openly and ask them some questions as to how they tackled that question and what they decided to do was actually really helpful to me. I'm just going to grab a few of these cards. They just pop through. See if any messages come through. I'll grab some from the intuition on this oracle and just kind of step back and see what messages arrive on the subject. So that's my personal story, and I found it extremely helpful to have been given the opportunity to have chatted to every single one of those individuals. Here we go, one's already jumped out. That's awesome. I'll just get an oracle as well, just to get me some more messages from the art world, spirits, messages. Here we go. And so ultimately, after having had those conversations, right, there's a few here that's come through. After having had those conversations, we came up with a bit of a strategy plan. After I picked, practicing law was actually what I picked originally, and then as a young person, so this must have been 12, then I had my work experience as a young person with a couple of lawyers actually at school using formal channels, and likewise I started planning my subjects for my college years to be aligned with what the requirements were for the university in terms of there are certain minimal requirements you have to meet in order to enter a particular degree, right? So having researched the university websites to understand what is it that they would seek or require from me in order for me to access the courses and the degrees. We worked backwards and made sure that I had the relevant subjects under my belt, that I studied towards them, and then whatever else I did sort of aligned or went in the general pathways towards me ultimately getting into studying law, which is what I ultimately did, or one of my degrees is in that. So let's see. I'm just looking at the time. I apologize. Run out of time. This video series is going to be quite a long one, but hopefully everyone's inspired to see and to practice love and have heard sort of the heart in this video series to try to help beautiful kids and children out there and young adults to choose what they want to do in the future. Just have a drink of water to get the flow of the spiritual world in them. So the first message is right in front of me, is the Archangel Raziel, which talks about wisdom, inspiration, and Akashic records. And we've got a really beautiful female here that looks very magical, fairy-like, and she's sitting next to the water, and there is a bunch of books, open books, and sort of scrolls on the shore next to her, next to the water, and from her hands she's just blowing a lot of wisdom. Well, she's blowing a lot of sparkles, sort of like a fairy light, and it's all emanating from her hands. So the fact that I said wisdom, and it's obviously the first word here at the bottom of this card. So apply your wisdom, apply that wisdom that every parent has or every guardian has in order to assist your kid on their journey. So the inspiration may come from books, you know, the inspiration might come to you through books or to your kid through books. It might be something to do with your hands, so, you know, creating magic with your hands. What that means, you know, that phrase is that some people have golden hands because they can create things with their hands, and it's either actually applying your hands to do your role, could be writing, you know, creative writing, or typing, because we live in a world where there's a lot of technology. So maybe inspiration could come from hands, using your hands in your trade or for your role. Likewise, you know, those scrolls sort of remind me of like university scrolls or old scrolls. So a pathway, for some of you, maybe a message will be, if you're thinking about your kid doing university or your child might be thinking that way, that might be the pathway to go. And ultimately, Akashic records. So I might just delve into this because the synchronicity of this is actually quite amazing. So literally last night I was watching 2 videos and I was reading a little bit more about accessing Akashic records. All I'm going to mention at this point in time is that some people are advocating for a prayer to access your Akashic records. If you don't know what Akashic records, Google it. I might do a completely different video about this at a different time. But Akashic records is effectively an energy field that records everything there is to the universe, and everything that has always happened, is happening, and will happen. Okay, so it's an energy field that every one of us can tap into in order to get information, data. So I watched, as I said, videos on this last night, how to access, and some people are advocating for prayer in order to be able to get through to them, as well as like visual techniques that you can tap into or apply in order to access the Akashic Records field. So as a parent, you might be inspired to actually look into the whole concept about Akashic Records, or tap into Akashic Records to assist your child on their journey of figuring out what they might want to do. And likewise, you might even want to do this exercise with your kid of accessing Akashic Records, or teach them how to do that, how to access the Akashic Records themselves. If you don't know, as I said, I didn't quite know either. I simply Googled it, I YouTubed a few videos, and that's how you get into the learning, right? As to these concepts. So that resonates with you. That's right here in the middle, in front of me, and that's why I was drawn to it. That might be something you might need to listen to. Accessing your Akashic Records. Alright, let's go to the left hand side now. We've got Archangel Phanuel. It's all about hope, optimism, and new beginnings. And I mean, that's a really great message from Archangel Phanuel here, which is, if you're right at the beginning of their journey, you know, becoming aware and considering the options for your kid, that is a new beginning, right? And there should be a lot of hope and optimism on this journey. It might be a long journey with your kid or alongside your kid, but it is one that should be all full of love and happiness and joy. And if you're ever in doubt, as I said, a prayer is an act of love in my world. So some addressing archangels. We've got Archangel Raziel here, Archangel Phanuel. Literally address them in your mind or speak them out loud. If you're ever kind of in doubt or unsure how to go about doing things, or as an example, not sure how to access Akashic Records, you can address these wonderful archangels, and I'm sure that there will be answers coming your way. Now, what else I'm seeing? So we've got the card of relaxation here, family tree, and confusion. And just looking at these three together, this is really wonderful. So I've got a family tree, family running around, having fun with children, grandparents on the side, and the whole topic is all about that village, right? And the family tree is that support of the closest ones to the child's life. It's expand. The words that I hear are expansion and legacy, because of course the family cycle, the dynamic of a family cycle of becoming, being a child, becoming an adult, becoming a parent and a grandparent, and then passing on the wisdom, passing on the learning, and being the mentor and the guardian in their child's life. It's all part of the family tree, and ultimately it's all about expanding yourself and your family's lineage and leaving legacy for the future. So this is actually really a lovely message, to have come out here, that given the subject matter of today's video. But the two of them that are beside, the two cards that are beside, is the confusion card, because the truth is there are so many choices, and then there will be uncertainty because of the number of choices that are available, right? The spectrum of careers and jobs, what your kid might want to do, is huge, and it can feel stressful and overwhelming to actually even start considering things. This card is all about different paths that one can take, and it's all about the past, the known, the unknown, the future. And there's two questions, perhaps, or maybe kind of emphasizing, representing that uncertainty and the dark place you might actually go to because of the overwhelming choices, and your kid might be experiencing that. So don't underestimate how confused your own kid might be on this whole journey, or any point in time on this journey. So rely back on that family, that village, that closest family, in order to step back a little bit, to sort of detox and de-stress, not to get into the overwhelming side of things, because perhaps this is the whole point of this relaxation card, is that sometimes it's important to just go back to your happy place or your happy times in order to find, what your child might want to do when they grow up. You don't want them to be in a confused state, and if you feel like you have entered the confused period of time, or when things are uncertain because there's too many choices and the energy in the family feels like everyone is a little bit tense or stressed out because there's so much on the table, well, perhaps it's time to step back, do some happy family activities, go out into the nature or on the beach, go away for a little bit, step away from that decision altogether, or the journey, just collect your perspective a little bit. Find, a hammock to sleep on, if you will, like this gentleman here on the picture, and find some peaceful pursuits. Go play bowling or pool, or go watch a movie, whatever it is that your family enjoys doing, because to bring you back into that state of love and happiness and joy, to make sure that whenever you re-enter the conversations and discussions and thoughts about your kids' future and what they might want to do, that it's all done in this loving and supportive manner, right? And one way to break that chain of negativity and confusion is by just completely stepping out of it and finding a peaceful pursuit that will actually help your whole family. And so what we've also got here is Divine Unity from the Intuition deck, and I might just read that message from the cards guidebook. So it's all about the Divine Unity, because I feel like, because this was the only one card from the Intuition deck, there might be something special here for the parents to hear. Here we go. You are made of the stars. You are a child of the universe, a child of God. This means you're always deeply loved and supported. If you feel as though you don't belong, or an outsider, or are different, it's time to connect with the divine in you, that which is connected to everyone and everything. The divine is in everything and within you. You are loved. There's no love like it on earth. It is true, pure love that is available to you anytime you need it. Love from within. You're always held and supported. You're never alone. Just as the great Rumi said, you're not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop. And that's a beautiful message. And I think this is, just the one card that dropped out from the Intuition deck, but it's a very, very meaningful one. and it's an image of a beautiful lady here, made up of the stars, you know, the image from the stars, and she's pointing towards a bright star. And it's just to show you that every, you know, in the context of this particular topic that we're discussing today, every single child is a superstar, because they just are. Like I said, you're a child of the universe, a child of the gods. Each one of us is a superstar, and it's about going on the journey to figuring out what they want to do in this particular lifetime on planet Earth. What is it that their soul has found, that they want to try and do, what kind of challenges they may want to overcome, what kind of learnings they want to develop. And consciously can be an overwhelming decision. There could be a lot of doubts, uncertainty. You might feel like you have to take a leap of faith sometimes with the decisions, but sometimes you perhaps an answer to coming back from the confused state, you know, one of the cards, into the relaxation state could be through the divine unity and just going back into tapping into the divine spiritual side of each one of us as a parent, but also helping and guiding our own kids to go through that process of just going within, remembering that you're always loved and protected, and that any answer you want is actually within us. It's just a matter of going within and asking the question, asking your own spirit for advice. Put the hand on your heart, because remember, the heart is the bridge between the physical body and your spirit body. So if you want to tap into the most perfect answers and customized for you, it's all within you. And so that could be actually one of the ways to tap into the Akashic records, right? It's actually through within, because it's all applying your own capabilities, whatever we are born with. You know, this body gives us a lot that you can do, and that includes tapping into your internal soul, internal spirit, and the knowledge that is held within, the answers that are held within. So that's that. And the two oracles that have come through today are Grayson Perry and Tracy Emin. And so if we go through Grayson Perry, the message goes, scratch at the surface until your fingers bleed. Meaning separates art from craft, and try something new the old-fashioned way. Well, that's an interesting message there. You know, so about scratching the surface until your fingers bleed. Well, you know, sometimes you have to go at the decision many times over and over and over. You know, sometimes you're going to have to readdress the same elephant in the room in order to actually get somewhere, or an outcome that is thought through, or the decision is appropriate and fit for purpose for your kid. Try something new the old-fashioned way. So that might be a really good inspiration there for some of you, in that sometimes if the conversations or whatever it is that you're doing with your kid isn't working out, perhaps it's time to try a different approach. Now, the old-fashioned way is maybe going back to the principle of practicing love, you know, thinking love, speaking love, doing love. But perhaps whatever it is that you were doing or speaking, or your approach, if it hasn't worked before, perhaps it's a time and a reminder to try a slightly different approach. A more childish approach, more informal. So something I'm getting from this card is there's a teddy bear here, and lovely vase, very kitty colors, very beautiful, very positive, very colorful, very funky. So maybe in an informal way, something childish, you know, tap into your inner child, figure out, observe your kid, work in with their interests and their natural childish preferences and interests, in order to see if that kind of approach might get you to think creatively, and you might be inspired to actually do something funky and new and different, and that might be the breakthrough that your family needs or your kid needs. Now, Tracy Emin here is an image of a lady who is grabbing a lot of kind of coins, money towards herself, like literally as if she's just won a huge jackpot and she's just carrying all this money towards herself. And it says, don't hide your dirty sheets in the washer. Concentrate on finding, not losing, yourself in your art, and decay can be a fertilizer for new ideas. So that's interesting. So if some of you are actually feeling a bit of a stagnation or a delay in the decision making from your kid, that's a really interesting confirmation message that decay can be a fertilizer for new ideas, right? Sometimes you just need the time to pass and enough time to pass in order for something new to grow. And trust, the message that comes through is trust in the divine timing. Sometimes everything is held to happen at the right time, sort of for the stars to align, for a particular process to activate, for a particular thought to activate. And so maybe that's a confirmation for some of you that don't control the timing, don't rush the timing. Timing always happens in the divine manner. And concentrate on finding, not losing yourself in your art. So concentrate on finding. So the message that comes through is seek and you shall find, right? So seek and you shall find. Keep asking, keep going, keep being persistent, keep doing what you can, keep being proactive, keep practicing love with your kid. Seek and you shall find. Because if we stop seeking, we might not find something. But if you're actively seeking, the answers will come through. You can even request them, thinking line, love, pray for it, ask archangels here or anyone else you believe in for the right answers to come through, physical evidence. Yeah, and concentrate on finding, believe in the fact that you will find. So maybe just put some power behind the phrase seek and you shall find, and saying I will seek and I will find. There's a bit of an affirmation that you can put in, or put it in the present, because I'm all about present tense affirmations. So I am seeking and I am finding. Once again, I am seeking and I am finding, because that puts you in a present state of mind, and your brain only works in the present, your mind works in the present. And the more you can repeat that on a daily basis, the more answers might actually come your way. You might want to teach it to your kid if you're inspired to. Now on that note, I'm going to wrap up there. It's been a really long video. I really hope some of you guys have found this useful. Now comment down below if you like this sort of content. Please like and subscribe. I did make a commitment to donate 22% of my income as the Loving Soul, aka Victoria, to charities and noble donations. So your support, you watching these videos, liking, subscribing them, make sure other parents out there, other guardians hear this message, will actually be a really big boost and help in itself. So thank you very much in advance. I do hope and wish all the very best for you as a parent on your child's journey and trying to assist them to find what is it that they want to do. You've got all the tools, all the necessary skills and all the knowledge within you already, and we've obviously discussed some practical tips as to what you can do in this video. With that, all the very best, have a lovely day, and I will see you in my other videos. See ya!